You're listening to Your Highest Self podcast, episode 71. Today, we're talking about season 2, my 2020 reflections and learning lessons, as well as what we have in store for you this year. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to invest in your mind and doing it with me today. We had a nice little hiatus over December, but I'm so excited to be back in your ear and to be back on the mic. It feels so nice. I love, love, love podcasting. So we're going to kick off season 2 with a little behind the scenes episode. I wanted to bring you a just kind of off the cuff what I learned in 2020, as well as like what were my reflections, what were my learning lessons, what am I taking away from it, and then what I hope to accomplish in 2021. I personally love these type of episodes. I listen to them all the time from other people because I think that we can gain so much insight from other people's failures, their setbacks, and just people who are a couple steps ahead of the path than we are. And if you guys know my human design, I'm a 3-5, so I'm basically meant to make all the mistakes and do all of the things and then come back and teach you like what's the best way to move forward. So that's what we're talking about today, as well as what we have in store for you for season 2. I'm so excited. The podcast is not taking a shift, but we're just adding some different types of episodes. I'm really, really excited to support those of you who want to coach yourself and who want to coach others. So I'm bringing you a lot more tools this year. So before we get into it, I wanted to first start off with an announcement. While I was on my little December break, so if you're not a consistent listener, I don't know what you call, if you don't listen to all the episodes, I took a break in December just so I can kind of reset myself and really think about like, what is my intention for myself? What is my intention for the impact I want to create, the legacy I want to leave? What is my purpose? Like, what is it that I really want to do with my life? And I've been having a year where I've really been thinking about this a lot. And so I knew I just needed some like time away from all of it to be able to go a little bit deeper within myself. And what it came back to for me is I want everyone to be included. If there's like one pain point in this world that I could eliminate, it is for someone to feel alone, for someone to feel like there's no one who has her back. And I want to be able to do this without like a roadblock or a barrier of money. And so I made a seat for you at my table. My healing collective EVOLV is now officially open to everyone. I'm so excited. You guys, I spent all of December like working. I was supposed to be resting, but I was really motivated to work and to just pour my heart and soul into my community, and which is you guys. And so I have moved my private membership EVOLV over to a brand new platform, and now I can invite all of you into it. So when you join EVOLV, you'll get access to the first 2 spaces in our coaching community, which is monthly intentions and tiny victories. Those 2 spaces are a space where you can post. So every single month you'll be setting your intentions and your goals. And then in Tiny Victories, you'll have a space where you can celebrate yourself, share your wins, because whenever you celebrate your tiny wins and you value what you accomplish, the value of your life increases. And what do you guys know about value? It's all about your self-worth, right? So I made EVOLV a free open platform for everyone and anyone to join. And then if you wanted to upgrade your membership for a deeper experience and dive into the journal prompts, come and hang out at our monthly virtual retreats, as well as join the book club and have a space where you can ask for support and get my coaching and feedback, then you can upgrade your membership. But I didn't want money to be a factor for why you couldn't join. Because when I think back to, myself when I was in college and I was starting my personal development journey, like even having $100 a month was a lot. Like it wasn't something that I could afford all of the time. So now EVOLV is open to you for free. And then when you are ready to invest in yourself, you can upgrade your membership. But now you have a seat at the table. You have a seat at my table. And I can't wait to have you in my collective, in this energy that we're co-creating together, so that you can truly make 2021 your best year yet. So that's my big announcement. Super excited. Let's get into all the rest of it. So 2020 we all had a great a great year. We all had a year, right? We had a trying year, but I'm of the mindset that you make things, like, you get what you make of it. And so despite the pandemic, despite everything that happened in our world, I had an incredible year, financially, with my business just period, with my relationship with Henrik, with my own personal aspirations. I started a kitten rescue, and we started to finally renovate our home so that we can have a baby, which, if you know me, you know that's like my biggest dream in life, is to be a mom. So 2020 was an incredible year for me, but it was also very, very hard. So I wanted to talk to you about what were some of the learning lessons that I had. And when I was doing the notes for this episode, I realized, so let me back up. Even though I had like a really amazing year and accomplished all the things I wanted to accomplish, I think internally I felt a lot of resistance. And this is completely normal when you are up leveling, when you're achieving new things, when you are transforming to the next level version of yourself, or even doing a full complete 360-degree transformation, you're gonna feel resistance. And so internally, I mean, I was my toughest client. I had to coach myself constantly. I had a coach who I checked in with all the time. I just was doing a lot of work. And what I realized was that the lessons that I learned in 2019, I was actually integrating them in 2020. And I think this is why I had so much resistance, because I was implementing a new pattern. So in 2019, if you had listened to that episode from last year, the two big learning lessons that I learned from that year was that, like, it's okay to take time off, and to be focused on who I'm being and not what I'm doing. So those are the learning lessons that I had. I was like, oh, aha, this is the missing link. So in 2020, I took what I learned and actually fully integrated into my life. That's, sounds very easy, and it was very hard. I just want to be upfront and real. It's not easy to change who you are all the time. I mean, it can be easy, but I am one of those really stubborn people, and it's not always easy for me. So you're going to laugh when you hear my 2021 intention, but it is not always easy for me, and I make it harder on myself. And so 2020 was the year of really integrating all that I learned. And it's funny because often what I tell my clients is, like, these external things that you want, like, they're going to happen when you shift your internal state. So when I finally shifted my internal being of, it's okay to take time off and be focused on who you're being, not what you're doing, when my internal world changed, my external world changed. So what were those external things that I mentioned, where, I started the kitten rescue. The kitten rescue was a direct reflection of me taking time off and hiring a team and outsourcing my tasks. Like, that external thing would not have happened if my internal stuff wasn't being put into, like, use and integrated. Henrik and I focused on building our house and just our relationship here. Again, a focus on who I'm being and not what I'm doing. I took more time off Instagram this year. I was less anal about creating content all the time and pouring myself into, like, the internet. And I was more focused on being super intentional with the programs that I was running and the clients that I signed on, and really putting my energy into them instead of to, like, just everyone on the internet. And that external stuff wouldn't have happened without that internal. And what was the other thing that I accomplished in 2020? The other big thing I accomplished in 2020 was creating two new programs. One was the Highest Self Mastermind, where I'm coaching coaches. And the second is the EVOLV Collective, formerly known as Mindset Makeover Membership. And those two were big. And again, those wouldn't have happened if I didn't heal, like, what was going on the inside. So even though I was feeling a lot of resistance, even though it was hard for me, I am so proud of all of that I went through and, like, healed, and all that I was being, so that those things could come to fruition. But my learning lessons for 2020, now that I'm, like, reflecting and looking back on it, it didn't have to be so hard. I made it way harder on myself than it needed to be. And so like my biggest learning lesson is that I continue to be my biggest bottleneck and my own toughest client. And I'm just like laughing at myself because when you're in it, you don't ever see it. Like I was like in the weeds this year, and I like every single coaching call I had my coach, I'd be like, oh, I just feel so stuck. Oh, I just feel like nothing is happening. When in reality, like so much was happening and I was accomplishing and doing all these things and like things were falling into place for me. But I had this pattern and this conditioning of like feeling like I'm not enough. So no matter how much I accomplished, like things weren't enough. And I was being forced to really slow down and to sit with that discomfort. And it didn't need to be as hard as it was. So, my other learning lesson is that recalibrating is essential. I think all of 2020, basically what I did was I recalibrated. I recalibrated my energy to really feel safe with not overworking myself, feeling safe with how much I outsourced. I spent a lot more money outsourcing in 2020 than I did the previous years. So, from like a finance perspective, for if those of you who are coaches and entrepreneurs, you might find this just kind of helpful and interesting to know is I outsourced more, but what I gained back from the outsourcing, like the time that I gained back, was like times 10 because of what I did with my time. So being able to rescue kittens, like poured so much back into me that I was happy and okay with delegating and spending more money on my team rather than taking home a bigger profit. Does that make sense? So that was like a really big thing for me, and recalibrating that it's safe to spend this money. It's safe to delegate this. It's safe to invest in myself. And so also investing in the coach that I had, the mastermind that I was a part of, like all of that played into my recalibration. So it's safe to slow down. It's safe not to work as much. Like that was a big thing for me. All these previous years, I worked a lot and I made a lot of money, but I wasn't ever. I feel bad saying this because I was happy, but if I'm really honest with myself, it was like a conditional happy. It was like, well, if you do your posts and you do all this, then you can relax and feel better about yourself. So it's always conditional. Where last year, none of it was conditional, and I truly did focus on like my own happiness and like who I'm being before everything else. My last sort of learning lesson that I took from 2020 when I did my like yearly recap was that my purpose matters, and I have not been giving myself enough credit for who I am and the power that I have. And I feel weird saying this, and it feels a little bit like what is it called? Like self-centered. But the experience that I had in 2020 with the retreats that I went to with my own mastermind, like, again, this feels weird to say, but I need to say it for myself so that I can truly, what I tell you guys all the time, like you need to show up for yourself and you need to speak words of life into yourself, because if you don't believe it, then it doesn't matter what other people tell you. You're always going to go back to your own belief and your own intrinsic value of myself. So let me be that role model for you. I'm amazing and I'm really, really good at what I do. And I'm really, really powerful not when I put my mind to it, but just not even when I'm powerful. My purpose matters, what I do matters, and the impact that I'm here to leave matters. And I have so much more that I can fulfill, and so much more that I want to accomplish, and so much more that I want to be. And my own biggest bottleneck is myself. Truly myself. Henrik had told me maybe like 5 years ago, he was like, the biggest thing holding you back is you. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And every single year, like that thing that he tells me always comes back to me. And it's like, you know what? You're right. Like you are so right. I am always my own biggest bottleneck, because at the end of the day, I don't fully believe in myself. And that's huge, because what is it that I coach you guys on? I coach you to believe in yourself, to know your intrinsic value, and to know what your self-worth is. And And let this also be a reminder that you can do so much work and you can have really great self-belief and you can still struggle with it on different days. So if we go back to human design, I know that my ego center is open. And so I struggle with my worthiness. My worthiness goes up and down. It's very inconsistent. There's some days that I feel amazing. And then some days that I'm like, I just want to delete everything, go and get a not a normal job, but just delete everything for like a month and just hide. I just want to hide. I don't want anyone to see me. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to do anything. And then I'll come back. That comes from not believing in myself or just, yeah, that's what it comes from. So, um, every new level of your life, the stuff that you've healed and the shadows that you've healed, the shadows that you've worked through are gonna come back up. And so they came up for me a lot this year because I made like really big external shifts and really big internal shifts. My shadows were like louder than ever. So a reminder to myself that my purpose matters, a reminder to you that your purpose matters, and that we are here to make a difference in the world. We have a legacy to fulfill. And if you have always just felt like you were meant for more, like you're meant to do big things, you're meant to help people, like that's not a lie. And you are meant for that. And that is available to you. And that is something that you can do. Like you can be the one making inspiring quotes on Instagram and posting them and then posting those to your story, not reposting other people's. Like give yourself permission to do everything that you want to do and to do it to your like maximum capacity. So with that being said, what's my focus for 2021? When I was teaching my intentions and goal setting masterclass and we were doing our words, my like automatic thing is to go for like focus or up level or like elevate, like all these words to get me to the next level, and they just didn't feel right. And what I cue people to do on the masterclass, and what I'm going to ask for you to do is really think about how you want to feel. Like at the end of the day, every single day, how is it that you want to feel? And let that be your guiding word, your guiding intention that's going to define your year. Because you can accomplish all of the things, but if you accomplish them and feel terrible at the end of the day, what use is that? What good is that? The quality of our lives come down to the quality of our emotions. So when you know how you want to feel, and if you can let that be the guiding light of your year, then the quality of life is going to increase because of the quality of your emotion is what you actually want to be feeling. So I want to feel ease. I told you were going to laugh because I make things so hard. I do. It's just my natural default. So this year, my word for 2021 is ease. And my like guiding question is, how can I let this be easy? Anytime I start to feel overwhelmed or I start to feel like I'm making things harder than they really need to be, or I can't make up my mind and I feel indecision, I'm going to go back to, how can I let this be easy? How can I make this easy? How can this be easy? So that's my word for the year. I would love to know what your word is. I'm going to ask everybody inside the EVOLV Collective. So if you are a listener of this show, and you want to dive deeper into the content that we share here and what you learn and setting your intentions and having the accountability and support, come and join EVOLV. Now it's free. Actually, now that I think about it, I used to have a Facebook group for this podcast, but I honestly do not like Facebook, you guys. I just cannot use it. So I'll be queuing anybody who's in that old Facebook group to come and join. So I'd love to know what your word of the year is. So now my goals are inspired action around my intentions. So first goal is to create a coaching certification program that's going to include NLP, hypnosis, life and success coaching, EFT, as well as energy healing. So all the tools. I'm personally going through 3 different certification programs this year. I'm investing a lot of money into my own certification so that I can create the certification for you guys, and put my own spin to it. So my own spin to how I do coaching, life coaching, as well as energy healing, and integrating energy healing in with life coaching. Because I think that's the missing piece, because it's not just about your mindset, it's about your energy. And if you have blocked trauma stuck in your body, you need energy healing to help you release, to rebalance your chakras and to rebalance that masculine and feminine energy. My second goal is to have a baby. And I was really hesitant on sharing this because that's a very personal goal, but it goes back to how I want to feel. I want to feel ease. And I know that the biggest block to me having a baby is for me to make it difficult and hard for me to say, well, my business needs to look like XYZ for me to feel like this is the next step. So again, just going back to my happiness not being conditional and focusing on like really what I want and who I want to be. And I want to be a mom. I have so many fur babies. It's time for a real human baby. And then last but not least, my another business goal that I have for 2021 is I would love to develop a like a more of a holistic product suite for my community. Right now I have the Create Your Purpose Journal, I have the EVOLV membership community, and then I have my mastermind, Your Highest Self Mastermind, which is more of a high investment type program for coaches who have an established business. I had aspiring entrepreneurs also join this year, and it was amazing. It's nice to have all separate levels, but I also understand that when you're an aspiring entrepreneur, sometimes you can't invest, high four figures back into your business. Some people can, some people can't. So I would like to have a little bit more of a holistic product suite. So what that means is meeting you where you're at. And so I want to do more journals. I would love to make a planner, you guys. I've been like hunting for a new planner for this year, and I just cannot find anything that I love that incorporates CEO Sunday, that incorporates journaling, and goal setting and all this stuff, and like what's my intentions for the day. So I think it's time. If you think it's time to DM me, tell me if you think it's a good idea if you'd buy my planner. And then last but not least, I would love to develop a couple more courses, like do-it-yourself courses. So this is where I need your help and your feedback. If there was a really sort of targeted course that you would love to take from me, what would it be? Like some ideas I had was a course on confidence, a course on boundaries, a course on, I don't know. So you tell me what you need, because I want to meet you where you're at. So that's what I mean by a more holistic product suite, is to just meet you where you're at on your journey, because not everyone could just like jump into, investing in the mastermind. Not everyone can just jump into investing in the EVOLV membership. So, which is partly why I made because a couple of those coaching spaces free, so that you could at least get a head start and come sit at the table. So those are my goals. And if those change, I'll keep you updated. And if you have listened to my goal, like how to set goals podcast episode, you'll hear my system that I use on a quarterly, monthly, and weekly basis so that these goals come to fruition. So for the month of January, the one thing that I'm doing is I'm heading to Georgia to get my first NLP certification. So I'm excited. You can stay up to date with me on these behind the scenes stuff on my Instagram. Come hang out with me there. Okay, so now last but not least, what to expect for season 2. Not much is changing, you guys. This podcast is still called the Your Highest Self Podcast. We are still incorporating mind, body, and heart, but we have a new pillar, so I'm really excited. If you didn't know what the pillars behind the Highest Self Podcast and the Highest Self Coaching System, it is mind, body, and heart, and I'm adding a new pillar, which is healing. Super excited. So mind, of course, is your mindset. It's your having a growth mindset. So all the tools that I teach you on how to shift your mindset, how to have a new mindset, what mindset is. The body pillar is all about your self-care, your nourishment, your wellness, as well as your values. Because when you don't know if you don't know what your values are, then it's impossible for you to optimize your lifestyle in a way that works for you. The heart pillar is all about gaining confidence so that you can really see yourself in order to show up as who you are. So in the heart pillars, where we do a lot of the work around stepping into our purpose, our passion, our secret dream. And then last but not least, the healing pillar is all of the tools for unlearning or unlearning tools as well as other tools. So unlearning is the process that we go through to come home to ourselves. So I often say that healing is the journey back home to yourself. We do that through unlearning. So unlearning limiting beliefs, conditioning, patterns, thoughts, biases that were put on you either from your parents or experiences that we had growing up, and really figuring out, like, is this my belief? Is this my thought? Do I want to keep it? And if I don't want to keep it, what would I like to replace this with? The tools that I'm going to be teaching you guys this year, and what you'll be getting more of inside the EVOLV membership, is EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, timeline technique, which is another healing technique to go back into your timeline and heal past traumas that are stuck in your subconscious, NLP, which is neuro linguistic programming, again, another tool to use to be able to manipulate and use, and not manipulate, but another tool to be able to utilize your subconscious mindset. The thought model, you guys know what that is, journaling, and then also grounding and Reiki. So I'm going to be making meditations, hypnosis meditations, visualization meditations, success meditations for you to use. You'll get access to the meditations inside of EVOLV. So another reason to come and hang out and join the collective. And yeah, that is what you can expect for season 2. So more tools for your journey to your highest self, basically. And also with that, more tools for the aspiring coach, entrepreneur, or the established coach and entrepreneur. So I'll be sharing with you guys more about like how I manage my time, how I do my day-to-day things, like when it's time to outsource and delegate and things like that. And if you are interested in having a coaching container where that is like the primary focus, then that's what the Highest Self Mastermind is all about, which I totally forgot to tell you guys. Enrollments are open. So I'll leave a link to the Highest Self Mastermind down below, and you can check it out if you've been feeling called to work with me in that higher capacity. You'll read all about what the mastermind is about, who it's for, who it's not for, and then fill out your application so that we can get on a call. So anyhow, this episode went way longer than I expected, but it's really nice to be back in your ear again. I missed you guys so much. I'm so excited for this new year. I have no idea like what's up, but I don't usually feel excited for New Year's like I feel right now. I feel very exhilarated, like kind of hyper, and I'm on my moon cycle right now. So my energy should be low. Not should, but like usually my energy is much lower. I'm like more interested in like doing nothing, but I've had a lot of high energy. It must be the new moon. It must be the Capricorn season, or whatever. I don't know what season it is right now, but I think it's a Capricorn new moon. So anyhow, it was so nice to be back in your ear. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to hang out with me, listen to this episode, and hopefully you can take a couple of my learning lessons and integrate them into your life. And just as a reminder, we need time to recalibrate. We need time to integrate. Don't just like learn things and then move on and do the next thing or find the next new goal. If 2020 taught me one thing, it's that we need to integrate. We need to slow down, and we need to actually put into action the learning lessons and the tools that we learned, not just learn them for learning's sake. If you guys have any questions, just reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM, or you can personal message me inside the EVOLV Collective, and we'll chat further there. So thank you so much. Again, I hope you guys have an amazing week. I'll see you here next week, same time, same place. Don't forget to be your highest self. Bye for now.